The question that I posed to the chat this morning is, do you think that XRP is about to go below $1? I also would be curious to know, where do you have your buy order set at? Because I believe that we are going to see sub $1 XRP one more time. They're going to make the meme, make fun of Ripple, make fun of XRP community. XRP is worth less than RWAs, ha ha ha. Right before we see XRP fly to a new all-time high, and I'm expecting $10 and beyond by 2029 at our next cycle top. So you guys let me know in the chat. I want to hear from you. Are we going below $1? And the second question that I'm going to pose to you guys here, because I know many people are looking at picking up other altcoins right now. Which coins do you want me to do an update on next? Which coins do you want a review of? Put it in the comments down below. I read all of your guys' comments, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is why we keep showing up every day for you guys. And I want to hear from you guys. What coins do you want me to review or take a look at next? Some of these we've already done a deep dive on, and maybe you just want an update. Drop it in the comments down below. Let's get into it. We'll be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern too, so stay ready for that. GDP comes in this morning for Q2, 1.5%, slowing from 2.1% in Q1. And let's see where the revisions land us. Remember, we get two, I think maybe even two or three. I think it's just two revisions to the GDP. So let's see what the revisions come in at. But 2.1% in Q1, 1.5% in Q2, we are slowing. We still have some growth, but with lower government spending, business investment, and exports weighed on growth. Stronger consumer spending provided some support. This is from the Financial Times. So the slowdown comes as the prolonged Iran war drives energy prices higher, keeping inflation elevated and complicating the Federal Reserve's interest rate outlook, which we got the Federal Reserve interest rate decision yesterday. As anticipated, they left rates unchanged. Now, I believe that we are entering a period here where Fed Chair Warsh and the FOMC wants to hold rates here as long as they can. I think that it's convenient for them to let the bond market do their job by selling off, raising interest rates, raising those bond yields are rising, right? And so effectively, the bond market's doing the job of the Fed. And the Fed can now sit back here. Kevin Warsh can say, okay, I'm taking over. We're not doing forward guidance. The guys before me were messing this up. And we've taken over. We're going to just let the market reset. And I think that that's what the Fed, Kevin Warsh, is trying to do right now, is let the market adjust, reset. No, we're not going to cut rates for you. We're going to leave them right here. You need to make adjustments. You need to prepare for that. And you know, the odds of a rate hike have gone up a little bit, but I don't think that they necessarily want to do that. I think what they want to do is to be able to hold it here, just hold this pause, let everything reset, let the war take place. Maybe Trump's going to do some more tariff dealings. Let's let all that kind of unfold and let everybody adjust. And then they conveniently get to blame previous Fed Chair Powell and previous mistakes from prior administration. So it's convenient. It's convenient to just give us a pause, blame the past, don't give forward guidance, and kind of just say, hey, this is what you get. What you see is what you get. It's up to you guys now to adjust. And we have slowing growth already. And like I said, the bond yield selling off. It's doing its job to tamper inflation. Will it be enough? That's the question. Because if we do end up getting that rate hike, watch out. Right? Watch out for that. But for now, we're watching the Clarity Act drama continue. Senator Tillis-Gallego, they have finalized a new bipartisan ethics compromise for the Clarity Act per sources, though details haven't emerged yet and the White House approval is still needed. Now, we are at about a week. Right? Next Friday, August 7th, is the day when they wrap it up and they go on recess. Nothing would bring me more joy than to see President Trump cancel that recess and to tell all of them, you're going to stay and you're going to get this done. I would love nothing more than to see that. But we're watching the Clarity Act drama. At the same time, Eleanor Terrett, just explaining what's going on here. The main holdup is that Democrats really want a role for state attorney generals, the ability to sue the Department of Justice to enforce lapses in the ethics provisions. Republicans in the White House really don't want that. That's the key tension. There may be a breakthrough in the next couple days. That's the Gallego and Tillis work that's being done over here. We'll see if the White House is going to agree to that. But they have to send the proposal to the White House. Trump has to be okay with it. And if he's not, there's no bill. Now, right now, the precedent is federal ethics laws are prosecuted and charged by the Department of Justice. They're federal ethics laws. They're not state law. So state AGs go prosecute crimes that were done in their state statutes and state law. They don't do federal ethics. Now, when the federal government is not doing its job, this is when states sue the federal government. And this is very common. Right? We have Massachusetts versus the EPA. Both red and blue state attorney generals have done this against opposing administrations for decades. It's very normal for a state AG to sue the Department of Justice or a federal agency like the EPA, right? But what the Democrats are trying to do here is something that doesn't have a precedent, which is to allow state AGs to sue federal officials like presidents. And we have to see what kind of compromise gets reached on this. But what I think that we're all sick of is we can't just do a standalone bill on anything in this country. If we try to pass something in this country, it's 3,000 pages of text. 50% of that, maybe more, is pork and unrelated. It'll be like the Clarity Act bill somehow sends some money to Nevada for a solar farm, or to a wind farm in California. I mean, just stupid stuff gets included that's not relevant to the overall bill, no matter what it is. It's like this Clarity Act out of the blue, because they're so concerned about Trump's family making some money, they want to create a new precedent. I think that the laws as it's written and the Clarity Act as it's written is plenty enough. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if a party does break the law, we have many jurisdictions where they can be tried for those crimes. So I just don't, I'm over it. I'm over it. I know many of you guys are too. We'll be watching it very closely. Now, in the meantime, XRP exchange outflow transaction counts on Binance just hit an all-time high. People are pulling their money out of centralized exchanges. The notable part isn't the volume, it's the every value band. You have people with less than 1,000 XRP, and you have seven-figure whale transfers. They're all doing the same thing. They're withdrawing. They're pulling their XRP out. And I think that many of us right now are looking at what's taking place with the centralized exchanges. Some of them shutting down, like Bitmar and BitMEX. By the way, anybody in those, are you guys still having issues getting your funds out of there? And I'm hearing actually other reports. I have seen other reports. People have sent me messages talking about struggling to get out of other platforms too. Guys, it's getting tight out here. This is what happens at the bottom of bear markets. And so there's a reason why a lot of people are pulling their XRP and other crypto off of the centralized exchanges. It's because you don't have bankruptcy remote protection. You don't have free institutional grade custody. And I'm watching all this unfold. I'm just thinking, man, why are people still putting up with this crap? Like, it's taking you how long to onboard to the platform? It's taking you how long to do KYB, know your business? It's taking you how long to withdraw your funds? They're trying to charge you how much to withdraw your XRP or XLM off the exchange? The stories that are coming in right now are bad, and I just don't know why anybody would put up with that crap anymore when we have much better solutions like my sponsor, I Trust Capital, right here. They're still running the $100 funding bonus, by the way. If you use my link down below, get your account funded. But they have the 3 different products for you: the IRA for your retirement funds, the premium custody account for free institutional grade custody, and the Treasury account for your business, your trust, your nonprofit, your LLC. They got you fully covered, no BS. I onboarded in 10 minutes. I don't know what's going on with some of these other platforms, but just be careful out here right now. Just be careful. I'm not talking on anybody in specifically or individually, just broadly saying there's trouble in the water. Be careful out here. Now, what's happening is we're bringing an on-chain, we're building out an on-chain economy here with XRP. We are bringing RWAs on the XRP ledger and at the same time making them more useful than they are in TradFi, which is the whole advantage of tokenizing these assets and bringing them on chain, right? You can use tokenized assets in the upcoming lending and borrowing feature, provide liquidity on the XRP DEX, do cross-currency payments in seconds, 24/7, 365, and all of this is possible with full sovereignty by doing self-custody. Bringing assets on chain makes them immediately more useful, efficient, and just better. That's why keeping the XRP ledger strong for settlement of those transactions is key. Now, I found this was very interesting because Doppler responded to VET, and they said that we think Ripple's RWA strategy will create tremendous synergy with the privacy features being built on the XRP ledger, such as XLS96. We think that privacy features like XLS96 could take XRP ledger's RWA and institutional lending ecosystem to another level. One of the biggest reasons institutions have been hesitant to conduct financial activities fully on-chain is privacy. They don't want competitors or the market seeing every position, transaction, or strategy in real time. With XLS96, only the information required for settlement can be revealed, while sensitive transaction details remain private. Combined with Ripple's broader RWA strategy, including Ripple Custody and Ripple Prime, we believe this could make XRP one of the leading infrastructures for institutional finance. And VET responds saying that's a very interesting combination indeed. XLS96 plus XLS80 and 66, permission lending and borrowing with privacy. This is what brings an on-chain economy. And it's one where humans are using it. It's one where agents are using it. And all of it leads to more XRP supply being locked up and put to work in these protocols. Not just by retail folks, but also by institutions. We talked about this on my live show on Tuesday about XRP being held as collateral and why XRP is pristine collateral. Now, we know that this is already underway. Right? Ripple Prime, they settled up $3 trillion last year. They're working on bringing all of that to the XRP ledger. Treasury did $13 trillion last year. And that's the Treasury company that Ripple bought. Now it's Ripple Treasury. They did $13 trillion last year. They're working on bringing that to the XRP ledger as well. And so we're talking about institutions get to follow the blueprint and roadmap that Ripple has laid for tokenization, for stablecoins, for bringing bonds on chain, for bringing real estate and equity on chain, multi-purpose tokens, and the privacy that's going to be attached to that, like Doppler and VET are talking about in this chat right here, is absolutely critical. And now you're starting to see more and more folks realize that with or without the Clarity Act, XRP is already in the clear. I forget the name of the guy. I just remember he's got the PhD. He's done a couple of videos that have been, kind of against XRP. But then I saw a post of him talking about XRP being in the clear with or without the Clarity Act, which is true. Right? And you're seeing more and more people that are starting to realize, wait, something interesting is happening over here with XRP. These are people that are big Bitcoiners. These are people that are not big XRP guys, but they're saying, wait, hold up. You're telling me that XRP has clarity with or without the Clarity Act. Correct. You're telling me that XRP ETFs have seen nothing but inflows except for like a couple weeks since inception. That would be correct. You're telling me that there's over a dozen XRP digital asset treasury companies with already over $1 billion committed to them to lock up over 1% of the overall XRP supply. That would be correct. And that's growing too. And you're also telling me that XRP is about to finally have a DeFi ecosystem where you can lend and borrow and earn yield and passive income on your XRP and other tokens on the XRP ledger. Yes, that would also be correct. Yeah. And this is how we're getting other folks tapped in right now. I'm telling you right now, most people holding XRP don't have a clue about this. 99% of crypto is not even paying attention. And they're not going to pay attention until XRP pops up in price because that's all people focus on. And it's why they're going to be late. They're going to be buying XRP again at $2 and $3 instead of buying it when it's discounted like we are. Just like we did during the last bear market, just like we're doing during this bear market. And the people that refuse to take a look at XRP, I think are going to be regretting that decision. This is not just a banker's coin that we speculate and do riddles and hope a narrative comes through and hope XRP goes to 10,000. XRP has matured. The community has matured. Are there still a few outliers out here playing around and saying stupid stuff and being silly out here? 1000%, just like we see on every category of crypto and every category of the internet. As long as we have an internet, there's going to be stupid people saying silly things here. XRP, a few of the players out here, no exception. But the majority of us have matured. We've evolved. And we understand what's actually going to move the needle here on XRP now. And I want you guys to stay ready, because one of the next videos I'm going to be doing is actually pulling the data on what it took to get XRP, the real number on how much money did we need coming in to push XRP from 50 cents in November 2024 to $3.66 in July of 2026. And you guys are going to be, July of 2025. And that data point is going to shock you. And it's also going to get you very excited for what comes next. You just might get a little bit bullish. And you should. There's many reasons to get bullish right here. Let me give you another one. This right here, I'm just showing you that XRPO Japan, I mean, the XRP community is worldwide, and it's growing substantially in Japan and Korea. This is Nabe, XRP Ledger Japan, ecosystem developer, and part of the XRPO Japan community. It ended unintentionally. He's talking about a space that he held, or a broadcast, I guess. A little video. Or she. I guess this is I don't know if this is a guy or a gal. Looks like a guy. My apologies. With all due respect, sorry, I just can't see the small picture there. I don't have my glasses. Especially regarding the new features. I feel there are many parts that you can't keep up with unless you understand them from the premises to the flow of transactions. I hope to continue conveying those aspects going forward. See, what they're talking about right here is these features and these amendments coming to the XRP Ledger, and the developer community is starting to get excited. That's why I titled the video yesterday, Next XRP Upgrade, Super Bullish. The super bullish in quotations is a direct quote from a developer that is not an XRP clickbaiter. He is not an XRP hopium dealer. He's the absolute opposite of that. And he's saying that the amendments are super bullish. And you got developers out of Japan that are talking about these amendments and what's coming. I'm telling you right now, if you are here paying attention to this, you're literally part of the 0.1% of the planet that's even aware of what's about to happen with XRP. Nobody else knows. Nobody else is here. Nobody else is paying attention to us, which is our opportunity. They'll start to pay attention when XRP goes back above $2 and $3. And they're going to top blast the chart, just like we saw many people did in 2025. They were running to buy XRP at $3. FOMO buying XRP at $3. This cycle is going to play out again. Let me show you what happens next. Let's go. XRP chart update from Chart Nerd. Nearly 5 months later, after witnessing a decisive break below the upper regression band, XRP is tagged $1 and looks to have begun the sweep towards the middle regression band, which would rest at 88 cents, not 73 cents. So we're starting to get a little bit tighter. We're getting a little bit tighter on where we bottom out in our expectations. Chart Nerd says major bottoming territory. Now, as I asked you guys at the start of this episode, do you think that we're going below $1? And where do you have your buy orders set at? I believe that a lot of people waiting for 50 cent XRP to come back are going to be very disappointed. I don't think it's coming. I could be wrong. I didn't think that we were going to go back below, $2. I do think that we're going back below $1 here, though. So maybe if I'm wrong, people want to say you're wrong about everything. I hope I'm wrong about us going back below $1. And I also hope I'm wrong about my conservative targets for this next bull run. I hope I'm wrong on that. But if I'm right, I got my buy orders ready. And this is the most clean setup. I think that you could look at any macro chart, any asset, stock, crypto, precious metal, anything that you could buy right now from a fundamental perspective, right? This is the cleanest setup, or one of the cleanest setups, which is you sweep it down one last time below $1, and then you send it to $10. This is exactly what would play out if we follow the historical patterns. And maybe we blow out the historical patterns and we go do print something bigger than a 10 bagger, which would take us back up to about 10 to 12 to 13 bucks. Right? I mean, this is such a clean, simple setup, but when you've seen nothing but 12 months of downward price action, most people won't pull the trigger. Right? When you're down 70%, most people don't have the stomach to continue buying. So call us crazy, call us delusional, call us whatever you want. There's a reason why we made so much money on the last bull run. And there's going to be a good reason why we make so much money here on this next cycle too. The only question is, are you going to be taking advantage of this opportunity? You guys let me know in the chat down below. Are we going below $1? What coins do you want me to review next? And if you appreciate this content, please help us by liking, by hyping, sharing it out far and wide. We'll be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the updates. And I got another video right here and a subscribe button right there. We'll see you tonight. God bless.